Today we're going to be looking at what it means to be man as father. In this lesson, we find Cam on the baseball diamond as he takes on former Florida Speaker of the House, Chris Sprowls, in a hitting competition before discussing how Christ will have us act as fathers. Speaker Sprowls left his legacy when he engineered groundbreaking 100% bipartisan legislation aimed at strengthening fatherhood in the state of Florida. Let's check out the conversation and see what God says about one of the most important aspects of being a man.
What's good, you guys? My name is Cameron Babb here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Here about to meet with my guy Chris, so I'll introduce you to him and let's have a day.
Hey man.
What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Great to meet you, Cameron.
Great to meet you, man. So tell me, what's it like to be out here in Florida to have this beautiful weather? I'm from Ohio, I'm from St. Louis, so just tell me what it's like to be out here with this beautiful weather.
Well, we brought the good stuff in for you today. It's a great day. It's beautiful here. You're in Clearwater, Florida. It's paradise on earth.
Did you play baseball growing up?
I played baseball as a little kid. I played basketball a little bit. Played a little bit of football. Wasn't terribly good at any of the above, but I enjoyed it. My kids are playing now, so I got both my boys are in Little League and they played for several seasons. I got to coach a couple.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Chris, let's go meet the coaches and see what they got to teach us, man.
Let's do it.
So we're going to see how many balls you guys can get to the outfield. So the player that gets the most to the outfield is going to win our competition.
If I hit a home run, I can dream. You automatically win. Okay.
I like where his head's at already.
Game's over.
Yeah.
Actually, should we move the cars that are parked back behind?
You might have to, but depend on the day, depending on how it goes.
Well, hey, let's have some fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Love it.
Great.
Sounds good.
Don't hang out to dry.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
Here we go.
Let's get it.
I'm pulling for you, man. I'm pulling for you this time. What does Dion say? If you look good, you play good?
Yep.
Oh! All right. That was lucky. I mean...
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard, though. That's the first base.
All right.
Second base.
What was that? 4? 4 or 5?
I wasn't even counting. I was focused on
I was counting for you.
I was focused on the American flag, but
You're crushing that one. You're crushing that one.
There we go.
That's at the wall, Cam. Have you seen the wall yet?
I have not seen the wall. Team Jesus. There we go.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
I was going for the sword in the outfield. That sword. All right, there's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
You made it hard. You made it hard.
Best man won.
Well, Chris, man, I appreciate the friendly competition out there. It was fun to swing the bat around with you, man, so I appreciate your time. First, I want to start off just with a verse. I'm in Deuteronomy 6. We're going to start verse 4, just to kind of give us context.
I love that verse. It's I feel like it's a mission statement for our lives and how we raise our families. That wasn't really totally put into context for me until I was a parent for a couple of years, and I was struggling with the decision, which school to send the kids to, like normal stuff. And I was talking to a friend of mine about it, who's a strong believer, and I'm worried about the academics or the teachers, and that matters. It does. And but he said, "What's your goal for your kids?" And I kind of my stomach dropped a little bit. I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "What is it? What do you want from your kids?" And it took me a minute, and I said, "Well, I want my kids to be believe in Jesus. I want them to get to heaven. That's the goal." Yeah. And he said, "Great. Now make your decision based on that goal."
It's crazy that you say that. Just, as you read the Bible and you grow with Christ, you kind of see, he calls fathers to be the head of the household, and to lead, your wife and your kids into, just a spiritual promise of who he is, And so I guess my question is, how do you balance that and also deal with their lives are not in your hands?
It's really difficult to be a parent, mostly because of your own sinful nature and your own shortcomings. So you kind of have to constantly be your hardest critic. Ask God for the strength to do what you can. If you're not a patient person, I'm not super patient. So it's I pray for patience. Lord, help me, please. And the ability to know how to say you're sorry when you get it wrong. Just say, hey, kneel down to your child, look them in the eye, and say, hey, I did this. Shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I really ask for your forgiveness.
And you've done a lot of work just in the community and fighting for the fatherless, people that don't know what it truly even means or don't know what it's like to have a father. So what do you see in the world today, and even what has he been revealing to you about, the importance of what it means to be a father?
I think I think we all believe that God puts us on a path for a particular reason. Every reason is different. I think for me, God has led me to this fight on the fatherless. And it started with, I told you my dad was a cop. I grew up on cop stories, and I went and became a prosecutor. And then I was a gang prosecutor for a long period of time. And who am I interacting with on a regular basis? I'm interacting with young men who've done a terrible thing, who came from fatherless homes, who got into things that they shouldn't have got into, and it changed their whole life. And every single one of those things was about fatherlessness. And so I thought to myself, here I am, I ran for office. And in my mind, I was like, we're going to tackle, health insurance and, all these things, like school education, all of which mattered, all of which we worked on. Yeah. But then I thought to myself, but there's this other thing that touches all of that. Yeah. Like, what am I supposed to do about that? And you want to talk about sort of a God-sized prayer or a God-sized problem, right? It's like, Callie, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, this is too big. But I also felt like if I don't say it, like if we don't speak the truth, like if we don't tell people like, hey, this is a problem, I'll lay out the evidence for you, then we're not going to do anything. So we gave the speech, said it, and a couple of things struck me. Number one was, if we don't say it, we're not going to do it. And the second thing was, the people who came up to me afterward to say, hey, I want to work with you on that, they weren't people who were in my own party even. I mean, there were some of them, but like it was everyone. It was everyone. And it started to resonate with me that this is all of our problem, and everybody knows that it's true.
So how do you go about, the healing process, in terms of even in your relationship with your father, with your kids? How would you deal with that in terms of, there's a lot of brokenhearted men out there that don't really know where to turn. They're turning to everything else but men in their lives. And if they don't have men, they don't know where to go. So the question, I know it's a broad question. No, how would you tackle that?
It's a great question, and it's hard. It's super hard, right? Like, first of all, especially with your kids, right? I don't know if this is unique to boys. I've got boys. They will test you, and then when they're testing you, they're like, I want to see how far I can go on this thing. And it's a constant reminder of, like, okay, am I going to model me, or am I going to model him? Yeah. Right? Because me's not so good. Him is much better. And, it's sort of modeling that patience and reminding yourself, okay, this is a moment now. Yeah. Like, what is it that I want my children to remember? Yeah. I think that not provoking your kids to anger is a big deal. Not wanting them to be angry is a big deal. Having them be able to deal with, those emotions is a big deal. The other one I like is, Joshua 1:9, right? Be strong and courageous, which is awesome. Yeah. But the other part is, don't be discouraged. Yeah. Don't be afraid. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go, right? And because a lot of times I'll say to my son, who'll get discouraged, I'll be like, hey, bud, you're getting discouraged. Like, what do we say about that? Like, and he'll sometimes be like, don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid, right? But like, I'm good. If that is in your heart, and if those scriptures are written in your heart, then my hope is that one day when you're discouraged and it is really bad, that you will remember that written on your heart, that God had written that there. It's like, I got you, right? Like, that's what we want. We want God to go, I got you. And that's as fathers, like we have a role to play in making our children believe that God has got them.
Yeah, and I love that, because it's almost like a dependency on Christ. Like, that's what we have to depend on him, right?
I'll add one more if I can, and that is, as we arm ourselves as parents and leaders in our community, I'd say find one more, right? Like, we want to fight for our kids. We love our kids. They're ours, And fighting for one more could mean adopting a child. It could mean fostering a child. It could be being a mentor, being that male presence in the lives of a child, and realizing that, like, God has given you great power, great, awesome power to go and pour into the life of somebody who's not your, biological blood. So I guess my last challenge would be, fight for your kids and go find one more.
I love it. I love it. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate the time. I appreciate baseball and the wisdom. I'm gonna be praying for you, and can't wait to see what the Lord does and through you.
You just gonna be so back, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
What an encouragement to see men in the political realm living out their faith in Jesus. Kam and Chris's conversation on Man as Father included the idea that fatherhood is primarily rooted in a submission to God and making willful choices to point our children to Jesus. This includes what many consider to be a mission statement for fathers found in Deuteronomy 6. As you break down today's lesson, remember that with 700 million fatherless children in the world, our Patros responsibilities extend beyond the comfortable confines of our own homes.